You know what is happening. The past is not a sentence, but many insist on treating it as such. If there were real growth, you wouldn't be here. If there were understanding, you wouldn't need to justify yourself. If there were evolution, you wouldn't feel tied to fragments of who you once were. This is not a dilemma, it is a realization, because the truth does not care about your expectations. The people around you judge, compare, limit, and you accept, react, silence, lose. There is no mystery in this. There is a cycle that repeats and chains you to a past that is no longer yours. You call it memories because calling it burdens requires surrender. You call it history because calling it error requires action. What was left behind remains present because you maintain this dialogue, not because it is correct, but because you do not cut the ties. Those who move forward do not look in the rearview mirror. Those who project the future do not ponder over the remnants. And today you live trying to justify choices that do not need validation, only understanding. When someone sees your value, they act. When someone believes in you, they support you. When someone recognizes your strength, they do not hesitate. The rest is noise. If you need to carry weights, you are already overburdened. If you need to justify your journey, you are already lost from it. If you need to prove your worth, that is not recognition. It is wear and tear. You are not stagnant. You are paralyzed. And being paralyzed is also a choice. The raw truth is this. Nothing changes because change is not convenient for those who benefit from your vulnerability. As long as you continue to allow yourself to be defined by what you are not, the scenario will remain unchanged. For the others, you do not need more memories. You do not need more justifications. You don't need another maybe. You need to decide if you will continue accepting the definition imposed on you. There is no comfortable future here. There is only the moment when you decide to be reborn. And that moment does not come without your action. You know that repetition is a form of prison. The cycle is already clear. Each time you make a choice based on fear, you move further away from what could be. You see yourself reflected in faces that don't recognize you, in words that don't touch you. The weight of others' expectations is a shadow that never disappears, and you accept this burden as if it were part of your identity. The truth is, you are immersed in an unsolvable enigma. Every day the same dance, the same broken promises. You see yourself giving up your essence to please, to fit into the narrative others have created. And thus, what was a pulsating life becomes a blurred image, a distant echo of what could be. When someone mentions change, your reflex is distrust. Change implies risks, and you are already exhausted from betting on the unknown. You prefer the known, even if it is painful. This is the trap you created for yourself, a comfort zone made of toxic habits, a body that endures but does not live, a mind that justifies but does not question. You think you can control the pain by keeping everything as it is. It doesn't work that way. Control is an illusion. What really happens is that you become complicit in oppression, and you make mental notes of the reasons why you should stay, the security of the familiar, the predictability of suffering. What you don't realize is that by clinging, you deprive yourself of possibilities. You limit yourself to the past while life continues to flow. The other person acts, manipulates, criticizes, ignores, and you adapt, submit, silence. The pattern is confirmed. Each interaction reinforces the idea that you are the problem, that you do not deserve to be treated with dignity. You become a ghost in your own story, a presence that does not interfere, that does not influence. And in this cycle, time passes. There is no progress, only stagnation. You watch life unfold around you while remaining on the sidelines, unable to participate. Opportunities say goodbye, moments fade away. The reality is harsh. It waits for no one. It is part of the natural cycle of things. And you get lost in memories, in choices not made, in the what-ifs that never came to be. The wound only deepens because you refuse to let it go. Each replay of the old scene brings up the same frustration. You review the dialogues, recreate the encounters, participate in a script that has already been written. It is clear that the past has no compassion. It feeds on your hesitation. It lives through your acceptance. When you look at your relationships, what do you see? People who fill empty spaces but do not offer true connection. Conversations in which you speak but are not heard. Moments in which you give but do not receive. It is a rigged game. The roles are clear and you play yours masterfully. But who benefits from this? Every time you decide to stay, you choose a supporting role. The truth is, you have a choice: to stay or to go, to fight or to surrender. And inaction is a powerful but destructive decision. Your life is your responsibility. And that weight is yours, not others. There is no more room for justifications. There is no more time to wait for something to change magically. You need to acknowledge that change starts within you. The past has no power over your intent. You can rewrite the narrative without illusions, without excuses. And when you start acting, reality will adjust. The truth is not comfortable. And change is not easy. You will encounter resistance, internal and external. But by acting, you deconstruct what was built. And little by little, the new takes shape. Understanding this is the first step, but the real movement comes from action. And every little gesture counts. You don't need grand declarations. One step, just one step. A decision. And soon the old narrative will begin to crumble. What once seemed like a burden will transform into freedom. And you will have the chance to review your story under a new light. A light that doesn't erase what was, but illuminates what could be. Because ultimately the future is shaped by the choices you make now. And you know these choices are yours. Reality has already been presented. You know that every choice you do not make is a door that closes. Life does not wait for your decision. And what was once an open path turns into a labyrinth of regrets. You observe, but do not act. It's a vicious cycle that reflects your hesitation. The world around you constantly transforms. Meanwhile, you remain fixed in the spiral of the same mistakes. Now think about the eyes of those who observe you. What do they see? Indifference, perhaps, or disguised compassion. People who wait for you, but you don't arrive. Some leave, others remain in the shadow of what you could be. The truth is, they see your potential, but you refuse to recognize it. There is no heroism in silence. The characters in your story walk, but you remain still. It's like watching a movie where you know the ending, but still hope something changes. Time does not stop. The hours slip away like sand through your fingers, and instead of acting, you cling to what was. The past becomes a comfortable shelter, painful but familiar. Remember, comfort is not synonymous with happiness. You live in the draft of your own narrative, waiting for the right moment that never comes. The wound persists because you insist on reopening it, revisiting it repeatedly. With each memory, a new cut. What should be a lesson turns into a prison. You distance yourself from who you really are, surrounded by expectations and obligations that are not yours. Finally, you realize, every time you silence yourself, the space fills with the chains you give yourself. The other person acts, criticizes, discredits, ignores, and you accept, tolerate, justify. It's in this dynamic that you get lost. The pattern repeats, the crutches never disappear, and what you really need is to look ahead. When you finally decide to confront the pain, the weight begins to diminish. But this confrontation is scary. It won't be easy. You will have to challenge the voices that echo in your mind. The resistance you feel is natural. It comes from the fear of the unknown. But think about the opportunity, the freedom that comes with the choice to go. Each step towards the new is a journey of self-discovery. Discomfort is a powerful tool. When you face what binds you, you discover that the identity imposed on you is not yours. Liberation begins with the realization that you are not a victim of your past, but the archetype of your future. You can create new bonds, new experiences. Look around you. Every interaction is a chance to redefine yourself. Every word exchanged is an invitation to change the conversation. The people who are willing are waiting, but your hesitation creates invisible barriers. You no longer need to wait for validation, because the truth is that your voice matters. You have power in the words you choose. Strength lies in your ability to put yourself first. Upon realizing this, you rebuild yourself, not as an echo of memories, but as a creative force. Interactions become a reflection of your new identity. You distance yourself from relationships that drain your being. Each farewell brings relief. One cycle ends while another begins. For that, you must be the writer of your story. Now, allow the old ghosts to disappear. They have no place in the new narrative you are constructing. Every feeling of powerlessness dissolves in the reality that you are the author. Change will not happen by inertia. The roots of the past must be cut with determination. Unlearning is a challenge, but also an opportunity. Look at the faces around you. Some may disappoint you, others will surprise you. You will discover who aligns with your new self, a dance where harmony depends on one, you. In the search for authenticity, you will find new fears. In reality, you will find old fears, camouflaged by new opportunities. They will try to trap you again. The trick is to recognize these patterns and not allow them to dominate your narrative. And when you finally decide to leave the past behind, you will feel the weight of freedom, the lightness of no longer carrying emotional burdens. Life will start to make sense again. You will rediscover joy in the small things, the pleasure in the simplicity of true connection. Looking to the future, you will see that it shines with possibilities, no longer defined by mistakes, but characterized by the courage to change. Every choice you make now shapes what is to come. A new chapter awaits you. And the responsibility to write this story is entirely yours. The reality has already been presented. You always saw yourself as a spectator, a shadow cast on the wall of a life that is not yours. While others dance to the rhythm of freedom, you remain still, watching the colors fade into shadows. Every laugh, every joy echoes as a cruel reminder of what you don't have. This isn't just sadness. It's the realization that time is relentless and slippery. As the days drag on, you understand that the responsibility for your destiny cannot be delegated. There are no redeemers waiting to alter the narrative. Only you can break these invisible chains that hold you. The truth is that by resisting change, you become complicit in your own imprisonment. Suffering is not a burden you must carry, but a choice you opt to validate. Each day you see yourself repeating the same routines, sinking deeper into the abyss of your justifications. You tell yourself that you need more time, more preparation, as if the right moment were an external entity to be awaited. But this wait becomes a labyrinth, where each turn leads to more indecision. The force of habit is treacherous, and the comfort zone you have built is made of illusions, a place where the walls are lined with unchallenged fears. In this emotional lethargy, a new element begins to infiltrate: frustration, an inner flame that refuses to be completely extinguished. Sometimes you feel a flash of anger, not at others, much less at yourself. It is a silent indignation against the state of things. This anger is a vital sign. It is a voice that screams for action, that calls for transformation, yet you ignore it, preferring to calm the storm within you with empty promises. You ask yourself, what if I fail? Such a thought is an anchor that pulls you down. But what if you don't fail? What if instead of a resounding failure, you discover untapped potential? The fear of the unknown is a human response, but it is also a self-imposed prison. Each new experience brings with it the chance to learn. Or wasn't that what you thought about education? Growth is not a trait of the past, but a requirement of the present. It is at this point that you finally realize that change demands sacrifice. Sacrifice not just of time or effort, but of old beliefs that no longer serve their purpose. You must let go of what once was to embrace what may be. The critical voices that once echoed in your mind become softer when you decide to speak for yourself. By claiming your voice, you bring forth a new self, a brave version that does not shy away from pain but seeks truth through it. The interactions around you begin to change. People react. Some move away, unable to deal with the new energy you radiate. Others, surprised, come closer, attracted to the authenticity that emanates from every word and action. As you open up to new connections, you realize that life is not just about choices, but about relationships. Each new friendship or partnership allows for growth, reinforcing your newly discovered autonomy. What you did not expect is that the relationships that flourish now are based on transparency. It is not just about sharing joys, but about exposing fears and vulnerabilities. In this safe space, you begin to rebuild your identity, no longer constructed around the expectations of others, but grounded in your own truths. This requires courage. It is not easy to shed the layers shaped by the needs and desires of others. You begin to understand that pain cannot be avoided, but rather integrated. It is not an enemy, but a teacher. Facing your fears is what makes space for freedom. When you allow your wounds to be seen and treated, you grow stronger. Healing is not a destination, but a daily practice of recognition and acceptance. The scars remain, but now they tell a story of overcoming and resilience. And so as you move forward, you realize that transformation does not occur with a snap of the fingers. It is a process, a labyrinthine path of insecurities and challenges, but know that each step, no matter how small, is a step in the right direction. Each day, lightness begins to replace the burden you used to carry. The memories of the past, though still present, begin to lose their power. They become fragments of a story you navigate safely without letting them define you. Reality is not a sentence. It is a blank canvas, ready to be filled with your choices, experiences, and authenticity. You are no longer paralyzed. You are in motion. Each day transforms into a new chance to rewrite your destiny. After all, you are the author of your story, and the pen has never been so firmly in your hands.